My name is Amy Jean Davis. I am the founder of LA Animal Save. I went vegan in 2002. I was in college. About a month before I went vegan, I had decided to go vegetarian because I was living off campus for the first time in my life and buying all of my own groceries. And I thought, well, now's the time to make that decision since I'm in control of my own food. And I thought I was doing it for the animals and to be healthy. A month in, I ran into a woman on campus who was showing videos of animals being killed. So naturally, I went right up to her and asked her what she was doing. And she shared with me a booklet from an organization called Vegan Outreach. It's beautiful, honey.
What is it? You want to show us? Oh, wow.
It's cool. I made that to myself.
Wow.
Nice. Now, who did you say you met again?
I met a woman on campus. I don't remember her name, but she was leafleting for Vegan Outreach. And she gave me a brochure called Why Vegan. It was the first time that I learned about the egg industry, that male chicks are ground up alive the day they're born. It was the first time that I learned, and this is embarrassing, that cows don't just make milk because they're cows. They make milk because they gave birth. And that was shocking to me because here I was at college at Purdue University. I've always been in the top of my class, and I consider myself a smart person. And somehow I missed the major fact that cows are not outliers when it comes to mammals and why and when we produce milk. Somehow that wasn't taught in school. And I think there's big reasons why that happens because of the influence of the animal ag industry. So that was shocking to me, which is why I said to myself, if I'm doing this at all for the animals, I need to go vegan instead of just vegetarian.
Wow. How did you know it was safe?
Safe in what way?
Like healthy, like don't people think they need to eat animals and dairy and all that?
So I remember I used to say this to people that if I ever decided I would go back to being non-vegan, I would probably just eat fish. Or maybe if one day I decided to have kids, I'd go back to eating fish just to make sure I was totally healthy. And that was just a wildly ignorant thing to say. So I just didn't know. Even though I was very interested in nutrition, basically since I was a little girl, I didn't know that animal products not only are not necessary to be healthy, but they're toxic and they're lethal for most people.
But you did it anyway.
I did it anyway because I thought, I'm sure it's healthy enough. And as long as I'm getting my B12 supplement, I'm probably fine. I learned a lot more about nutrition years later. And, since then I've also followed some of the plant-based doctors and learned even more that not only is it healthier to be vegan, it's just riskier to not be vegan.
Who's this little one we have here hiding?
This is my daughter, Phoenix.
Hey. And is she vegan?
She is vegan. She was born vegan.
Oh, wow. From conception?
From, 20 years before conception.
Ah, yeah. And what year did you go vegan again?
2002.
Wow, cool.
Well, so 16 years before conception.
Yeah, okay. I guess that proves it's possible, huh?
I mean, it's anecdotal at best, but it's absolutely possible, and the scientific data backs it up.
Do you think it's important to raise your kids vegan?
I think it's important. I think it's morally...
Moral obligation, maybe?
Yes. I think it's responsible. I think it's ethical. And I think the opposite for raising kids non-vegan. When you look at kids who have died accidental deaths as early as age 10, they'll have fatty aortic streaking, which is the first stage of heart disease, at age 10. So heart disease is our #1 killer in the United States and globally. And in this country, kids who eat an animal-based diet are very likely to have the first stage of heart disease at age 10. It's more shocking to me than kids being given cigarettes, because cigarettes obviously are a carcinogen linked to many different cancers, but animal products not only are also linked to many different cancers, but they're also linked to heart disease and all kinds of other things, high blood pressure, hypertension, type 2 diabetes. There's a correlation with cow's milk and type 1 diabetes. So in my opinion, it's more dangerous than cigarettes, but nobody today would dare give their kid a cigarette but they'll shove a pepperoni pizza in their face or drive through McDonald's and get them a hamburger. These foods that are group 1 carcinogens, according to the World Health Organization, that are just as cancer-causing as cigarettes. So clearly eating animals is a social norm. And fighting a social norm takes a tremendous amount of energy, a tremendous amount of legitimacy, a tremendous amount of time in order to turn the tides on a social norm. And that's what we're doing in the animal rights movement. And I think it's important not only for the planet and fighting climate change, but it's important for our children so that they aren't destined to have the same chronic health diseases that so many, many people in our country have. As a mom, I don't want anything bad to ever happen to my daughter. And it makes me sad to think of all those other millions of children who are going to suffer from these avoidable, reversible chronic diseases. I guess as a mom, it makes me emotional to think of the suffering that the kids are going to go through. Not to mention the animals.
Do you breastfeed?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh gosh, the nursing relationship in the first 4 weeks was indescribably difficult. I found an incredible lactation consultant who basically saved the nursing relationship. Also, her aunt, Cher, she saved my initial milk supply by bringing me a pump so that because I wasn't able to make it work with Phoenix at the time, I was still producing milk because of the pump. Without those 2 women, we would not have been able to do it.
And that's not related to veganism at all, is it? Or being plant-based for your diet?
Oh no, gosh. It's sort of one of those best kept secrets from society that breastfeeding doesn't just come very naturally and easy to most mothers. It's actually a very difficult thing. And that's no surprise, being that we live in a patriarchal society where motherhood is devalued, family is devalued. So many women just don't even know that they need to have somebody who understands breastfeeding in order to give them better chances of it working out. So any woman who asks me questions since I'm already a mom and they're pregnant, do you have any advice? I say, find a lactation consultant before you give birth. Because as soon as you give birth, it's time to start the breastfeeding relationship, and it's a very sensitive and critical time. So you have to have that support before you're in that, the postpartum period, because it's critical, it's time sensitive, and it's really, really hard.
But since then, things have been easier?
After that initial 4 weeks, after that, yeah, it's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah. And she's 4.5 now, and I'm still nursing. So she started eating solid foods around 6 months.
What kind of foods did you transition her into?
We started with fruit. Her first food was a banana. Fruits, vegetables. We introduced a brown rice pasta. And then, of course, there's the not so healthy foods that she has been exposed to against my wishes, like French fries.
Oh.
Everything vegan, of course.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's so easy to have vegan junk food that it can be hard to avoid always. So, but yeah, try to get her to eat fruits and vegetables, a whole grain pasta. She's not really into leafy greens yet or green juices, but I'm hopeful that one day she will.
Yeah. You could probably mask those pretty easy, huh?
No.
No?
No.
What?
She knows the difference between a brown rice pasta and just a regular wheat pasta. Her taste buds are astute.
Wow. And what's her favorite things?
Phoenix, what's your favorite food?
Broccoli and popsicles and fruits and vegetables and some oranges and
Hold on a minute, let me see if I got that. Broccoli,
Popsicles.
popsicles, fruits, vegetables,
Oranges.
yeah. Did I miss anything?
mostly rainbow popsicles and that's all.
What about
Alright.
what about edamame beans?
And then McDonald's.
Edamame.
Awesome. Well, those are good foods. Good job. Are you going to explain to her the ethical side of it as she's growing up? And have you already started doing that?
I have already started doing that. When she asks me the questions, I give her the truthful answer. I think it's really important also for all parents to answer those questions truthfully, no matter how old the kid is. Obviously, you can gauge how much truth to share, but when she asks why we don't eat this food because it's not vegan, I'll say because that food hurts animals. So I think it's a very simple answer, truthful. I think that vegan kids who are raised without seeing that side are more likely to stray as they get older, because usually ethics are the core of our decision-making process. At least when an ethical decision is in front of us. And it's just, for me, it is really disappointing to see vegan kids get older and not understand the urgency and not understand the ethics to why we choose to eat plant-based foods instead of animal-based foods.
Do you expose her to maybe certain material at all, like media or books or anything like that?
We have a lot of vegan kids books. The messaging is very gentle because she's only 4. Every person is different, so every kid is going to be different, right? So I'll have to gauge how much more I can share with her as she's growing. I know some parents who let their kids watch graphic footage as early as 5. I don't think I will share that with her unless she somehow really, really wants to see it, and specifically is asking, I want to see an animal killed, like show me why, what it is. I don't think she's going to be asking that, but maybe by 6, 7 for sure, she's going to want to know.
See a home birth?
It was an attempted home birth. She was almost 2 weeks late. So we would have had to pay an OBGYN a large sum of money to continue the home birth at home instead of just having the midwife. There's a law, 2 weeks late, you have to go to the hospital unless you have an actual OBGYN present. We didn't have that lump sum of money to pay. And though I tried to give birth at home, about 11 hours in, we discovered meconium in the amniotic fluid, which is the first poop. And babies can aspirate on that. And it used to be a very dangerous situation, less so now. But I can tell you my mother was absolutely terrified. My mom was watching via video chat, and when she heard the midwife say that there was meconium present, she was telling Sean, get her to the hospital, get her to the hospital. So that's when we decided to transfer to the hospital and continue from there.
Everything went fine after that?
Yeah, everything went great. She came out completely covered in meconium. So again, my mother was terrified when she saw her. But the NICU team was right there. They cleaned her up and saw that, she was breathing and hadn't aspirated any of the meconium, and she was totally fine.
Now, what about family members? You mentioned your mom. Is she cool with you doing all of this, and you have support from family?
I have support from my mother, who is vegan, my sister, who is also vegan and has vegan twins, who are just 4 months younger than her. So yeah, it's been, lots of support. And my mom and my sister have been vegan a few years now, gosh, maybe 8 to 10 years. It's just life. It's our social norm within my mom and sister's house. So there's no problems there. When I go home and bring her to visit, all the food's vegan. And
excellent. Wow. Did you influence your sister and mom and all that?
yes.
Now, how in the world did you accomplish that?
Right? I shared information with my mother for many, many years. She herself went vegetarian when she was taking an anatomy class later in life when she went to college. And they were dissecting pig carcasses. So after that, she just couldn't eat meat anymore. I influenced my sister by having her watch Earthlings, which of course is her dad's movie. So my sister went vegan from watching Earthlings, and then a few years after that, ended up moving back in with my mom, and my mom was vegetarian, so it just made sense to my mom to just go fully vegan then, thanks to my sister.
Earthlings, that's a big deal.
Yeah, very impactful movie.
Yeah, I'll put a link to that in the description because anybody who hasn't seen it probably needs to check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love sharing it. It's definitely a classic to share. Is she going to be homeschooled?
No, she's actually going to only school that I know of in the country that feeds an exclusively plant-based diet.
Oh, cool. Is that
James and
James
Susie Cameron are the
Yeah.
founders, yes.
Wow. So it's called Muse,
Yeah.
and she's gonna go there.
Yeah,
Excellent. That is so cool.
I know, like big relief for both of us that we don't have to worry about, her if she had brought her own food and wanted to trade with another kid unknowingly, of course. Don't have to worry about any of that.
Wow. There's another school, I think in Florida, that's all vegan too.
Yes, I don't know if it's the full K through 12 school or what it is. Yeah.
After you went vegan, did you notice any changes physiologically, mentally, or emotionally?
It's so long ago. I just remember when people used to ask me that early on, I would just tell them that I felt lighter, I felt cleaner, I didn't feel as weighed down after I would eat. Now, of course, with the really awesome vegan junk foods, I can definitely get to that feeling again. But in the beginning, we didn't have all of this. We didn't have a good vegan cheese. I remember telling people that I felt lighter and cleaner and not as weighed down after I would eat. Because I used to eat quite a bit of cow's milk cheese and eggs, chicken's eggs. I used to a long time ago. And then mentally, of course, I just felt better that I wasn't contributing to the suffering. I didn't really understand the impact on the climate back then. And in the beginning, of course, I also didn't really understand everything about the nutritional aspects.
So that shirt you're wearing there, plant-based treaty, I've seen that around quite a bit. Share a little bit about what that's about.
I'm the founder of LA Animal Save. We're a part of the global Animal Save movement, and plant-based treaty is our biggest campaign that we're running. It's more than a campaign now, it's its own entity, and it's modeled after the fossil fuel treaty, which focuses on the fossil fuel industry and how that impacts climate change. The plant-based treaty is all about how animal ag impacts climate change, because the fossil fuel treaty mentions nothing about animal ag and its impact on the environment. So the plant-based treaty is all about how animal agriculture also is driving climate change and what we need to do in order to stop the climate crisis. Because the fact is, and of course this is only important for people who actually believe in science and facts, even if we stopped all of our usage of fossil fuels today, it still wouldn't be enough to stop the climate crisis without addressing animal ag. There's 3 parts to the plant-based treaty. The first part is no more new land to any kind of animal ag operation, which means no new farms, no new slaughterhouses, no new fish farms, land or sea. The second part is to divert the subsidies that were going to animal ag, which is to the tune of billions of dollars a year, our tax dollars, send those to plant-based foods instead. This would just completely flip-flop food prices for people. So that $5 salad becomes the $1 salad, and that $1 cow's burger becomes the $5 cow's flesh burger. It would greatly assist in fighting food apartheid and healthy food becoming accessible for everybody, including low-income areas that are targeted by the fast food industry, areas that don't have grocery stores with fruit, food deserts. And it would just allow everybody to spend less money to be able to be healthier. We could beyond feed the world healthy food if we switched from animal-based farming to plant-based farming.
Yeah.
So that's the second main point of the plant-based treaty. And the third is to replenish key ecosystems such as the Amazon. So obviously, if we switch to plant-based farming, we can stop cutting down the Amazon. Almost all of that is for the animal ag industry. Some of it is for the timber industry and palm oil, but the vast majority of it is for animal ag. So we need to repopulate those key ecosystems in order to continue to fight climate change by creating carbon sinks, such as the rainforest. So those are the 3 key points of the plant-based treaty, and since the fossil fuel treaty has been successful in the aspect that many legislations have endorsed it and have started to create policies to lower their fossil fuel usage in order to combat the climate crisis, we want those same legislations to adopt the plant-based treaty, because again, you can't fight the climate crisis just by getting rid of fossil fuels. even if we did it today. So the Los Angeles City Council unanimously endorsed the plant-based treaty in 2022. So that was really awesome. And, you know, we've got organizers, activists all over the world that go into different institutions and try to get them to endorse the plant-based treaty and then implement any kind of policy change that's within their power. For example, colleges, if they're going to talk about their commitment to fighting climate change, they have to have more plant-based food in their cafeterias. Like, you just can't continue to provide animal-based foods and still say you're fighting climate change. It just doesn't work.
Today, we're kind of huddled away in the end of the hallway corner here at an event, and share a little bit about that.
Well, we're here at the Animal and Vegan Advocacy Summit. It's the first time it's been back in LA since the pandemic. Last year it was in DC. So we're here to connect with other organizations and, of course, any of the attendees that are coming to learn more about what they can do as an activist or whatever they might consider themselves. Provide them the information on the plant-based treaty, tell them about our vigils. We still hold vigils outside of a cow slaughterhouse and a chicken slaughterhouse. Equip them to have a bigger impact.
Yeah, that was worthy of an applause. And so, yeah, basically that explains some of the noise in the background.
Yeah.
Do you have a quote you want to share?
Not one that I've completely memorized, but Animal Save movement was based on an idea from Leo Tolstoy, which is bearing witness, which means when you know that there is suffering, you don't turn away, you come as close as you can to the one who suffers and you do something to try to help. So that's where Animal Save movement came from. And for many years, we focused on bearing witness to the animals that were about to be taken into the slaughterhouse so that people could see these animals as the individuals that they are, instead of just seeing them as dismembered pieces on a plate. And it was very impactful for so many people, either to go vegan or to become an activist, such as myself. We still do that bearing witness and still believe in Leo Tolstoy's idea of coming closer to those who suffer and doing something to try to help. And we're doing that with the plant-based treaty as well.
I'm glad you explained that, because people might wonder, why would you go to a vigil and what that even is all about? And I guess you kind of hit that.
At first glance, it is, I suppose, strange. Why would you go and see these animals and that you can't really do anything to help? That was true at the pig slaughterhouse, but at the cow slaughterhouse and the chicken slaughterhouse, we actually were able to save many lives from both of those places. But it is about, you know, just because they're about to die doesn't mean they don't deserve to be witnessed. I would say to anyone watching this who may not consider themselves an activist, it doesn't have to be something big or scary that you do to become an activist. There are many different ways that you can make an impact on the world around you. So don't be afraid of what speaks to you. Like, for example, I'm not really great at protests. The anxiety that I feel in a more confrontational setting is not my jam. For some people it is. For some people it's making plant-based dishes and sharing those photos on social media or sharing it with their friends and family. Don't underestimate the power you have in doing those types of actions. And we need more activists. We need people sharing this information and doing something to help us push back on that social norm and flip it to where eating animals is the awful, violent, weird thing that it is. It's a microphone. It's recording my voice. Yeah. Do you want to talk into it? What do you want?
Hi, and I was born yesterday and I was in Amy's tummy. I was a little baby, and then I was doing something and my video was cool, and the baby, and there was Daddy, and Amy, her Phoenix was a little baby, and he was not looking at Daddy, and he started to look at Daddy, and then I wasn't talking, and then I was trying to call Amy, and then I was trying to ask Amy.
She's describing a video that Sean made of her from when she was still in my tummy to basically 4 years old.
Some something that I grew up when I was a little baby.
Okay, real quick, and then we're going to be done, okay?
Okay. When I was a little baby, I grew up into a new kid, and I was a kid, and well, I was a kid, and then I'm starting to grow bigger, just like Daddy and Amy.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna grow Amy first, and then I'm gonna grow big, just like 81 inches tall.
81 inches tall. Wow, that's
Yeah.
so tall.
Yeah, it's gonna be like
Whoa.
Cool.
81 inches tall.
Well, thanks for sharing. I guess we'll call it a wrap.
Okay, thank you.